Hi, everyone. My name is Lynn McEntee, and I want to welcome you to Youth Connections Café. It is hosted by Mokshacanadafoundation and bellletstalk. I wanted to do a shout out to both for allowing us to be here on this platform and in this safe space to have a conversation with our guests today and our guest attendees. We're underscoring cybercrime, cyberbullying, and cyber awareness in this conversation today. Bellletstalk is about connecting, creating, and inspiring the youth of today. And we're reaching out to our guests today in the community to include them in the conversation so that we can be educated along the way. My name is Lynn McEntee. I'm your humble host, but allow me to introduce our guest speakers today. We have two guest speakers, and they are from the York Regional Police, Constable Lincoln Boyd and also Constable June Kim. So they'll both introduce themselves, and then we can jump right into the conversation. All righty, back to you.
Hi there, I'm Constable Lincoln Boyd. Been with the York Regional Police for 18 years. Spent time in patrol, CORE, which is the community engagement unit, take care of community issues. And in 2019, I met Constable Kim in recruiting, where I spent 2 years there. And since 2021, September actually, I've been in diversity, where again, I went and I'm now working with Constable Kim. So we've kind of, had a dynamic kind of duo, if you want, if you will. And so we've been together, and we're good friends, not just co-workers, but we're good friends outside of work. So we are here today, and we're glad to be here. So thank you for having us. I'll turn it over to Constable Kim.
So thank you.
Thank you, Constable Boyd. So my name is Constable June Kim. I've been a police officer with York Regional Police for close to be 23 years. I've spent my patrol time in Richmond Hill District, and then I went into, I got a position in community services, and I served as school officer and guns and gangs prevention officer. And after that, I spent a little bit of time in administrative work at headquarters. So my job was basically to read most of reports in the region, and car accident reports and stuff like that, that I actually, just to make sure that, we have all the elements and that we have all the information that are covered for line of our work. And then I spent time in uniform recruiting, and I had pleasure to work with Constable Boyd and spent there for a couple of years with him. And we basically, again, that duo dynamic, and we work together very closely. And then I came to a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Bureau, and shortly after I joined this unit, and Constable Boyd followed me. As I said, he followed me to this unit. And again, Constable Boyd and I, we work together quite often. Thank you so much for having us, and hopefully you guys have something to take away today after our presentation. Again, thank you.
Wow, magnetism, drawn to each other for sure.
Even though I'm older than him, he's my big brother, even though I'm older.
Oh, nice. That's how complimentary is that? That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. Just a moment for our guest attendees, and a quick introduction from Sugandha. Sugandha, thank you so much for joining us today, and you've helped out on other platforms before. Quick hello from you.
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Sugandha. I am currently a full-time employee with a bank. However, I'm passionate about just helping people, diversity, cyberbullying, and that's where I decided to volunteer for Moksha Canada. So today I am one of the attendees, just to make sure that I can learn from you guys and maybe ask questions here and there that may help others as well. That's pretty much me.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Sugandha. Thank you. And I'm going to go over to Tala, who we've also had the pleasure of spending time with before. Tala, take it away.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Tala Limbu. I'm a university student, I think, as everyone can see. I am also a social justice advocate and activist in my community. So I'm really happy to be here and just contribute to the conversation and just hear what Constable Boyd and Constable Kim have to say about this topic. So yes, I've been on other panels before, and it's always a really engaging conversation. So I'm excited to see what we can come up from this.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And Vidi, what do you think? A little introduction about you. Vidi has been contributing to Moksha Canada a lot, so go for it, Vidi.
And I'm the web designer and developer, and I'm working with the Moksha Canada right now. And I also attend the Link Boyd last session with the Moksha, and it was very great. And we also get many knowledge from him. So I think I also attend this session also, and it's very great.
Awesome. Thank you, Vidi. I really appreciate that. All right, folks, let's get started. We're getting into the conversation on cyber awareness, cyber crime, cyber knowledge. And I wondered if I could just ask a question off the top. It's a very simplified question for anybody who's not aware, any youth out there who are just learning about cyberbullying. What is cyberbullying? I wondered if one of you could take that right off the top.
I'll go. Cyberbullying, in a nutshell, it's using social media and other form of electronic messaging just to bully people in various different ways. It's name calling, it's fat shaming, all of this thing, these things that go on, and the bottom line is, if you wouldn't say to somebody's face, you shouldn't post it, because once you post it, it's there and it's not going to go away. So in a nutshell, that's what the idea came from. And we reach out to young folks, and we're just trying to educate them about, the harm that can cause, right? If Constable Kim, if you want to just add anything to that.
It's almost like, if you forget your phone with you or on you, it's like I feel so exposed. I feel like something is wrong. This is, era that, we are living in. And we all have social media platforms. And I do have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. Quite popular right now with the Snapchat and TikTok and LinkedIn. The bottom line is that whatever we post, it will be still there. And in other words, your digital footprints, they don't just wash away. It will still remain, whether we do or we want or we don't want. Even if you delete from your own computer, the print is still there.
Yeah, that's often a misconception, and that's a knowledge for people who are just becoming aware of now. They had no idea in a lot of cases. I wondered if we can go into a couple of more questions, and then you can feel free to branch out wherever you feel is suitable and appropriate. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate that. What has cybercrime increased actually post-pandemic? That's a question for that one of our participants who could not be here today. Has it increased?
I don't right now have that stat to say if it has or not. You would think that it may be more so during the pandemic, when people weren't out and about and meeting with people, and schools were shut down. Everything was done virtually. So you would think cyber crimes were being committed more. Although I don't have the stats with me to back it up, that's just from my standpoint. I just believe that would be the case.
That makes sense for sure. Constable Kim, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with what Constable Boyd said. However, I guess in last 2-3 years, my personal opinion is that there are more ways to hack our accounts, and it has happened to many of my friends. And they use social media information to gain knowledge about you and your personal information. In my opinion, my personal opinion is that I hear a little bit more often recently than previous, prior to the COVID-19.
I see. Wow. Any questions at this point from our attendees while we're carrying on here? No? When you this is just off.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Sugandha. Yeah.
I have a quick question. So I just wanted to understand, like, what's the differentiation between cyberbullying and trolling? Is there any difference between cyberbullying and trolling in general?
I'll give this to Constable Kim. Like you said, he's got most of the platforms. I only have Facebook, and sometimes I wonder why I do.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, Constable Kim, if you don't mind, if you can, shed me light on that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Difference between cyberbullying and cyber controlling?
No, trolling. So today, like how there are trolls on these platforms like Instagram and Twitter, where people say in the comment section, so they are not after one person, so to say, but they would say like fat shame or anything like something negative about somebody in the comments, and their target is not one person, it could be anybody. Mm-hmm. So do you see any differentiation, or do they fall under the same category?
In my opinion, they are same category. Whether I say directly to a person, or I made a comment on someone else's posting, or even YouTube videos that or TikTok is quite popular among youngsters and youth and stuff like that. But in my opinion, it's the same thing. You basically try to hide your identity, who you are, but you're still making this comment in hopes to give negative impact on other people's posting or what they have posted on their social media. It's the same thing to me.
That's a good question, actually. Yes. So what's the difference between cyberbullying and hate crime online? Yes.
Well, cyberbullying, like Constable Kim says, it's using the platform to put negative, portray negative images towards someone. When it comes to hate crime, so cyberbullying, it's to make a person feel bad, and often it will lead to self-destruction, because we've seen how people have taken their lives because of what's being said and so on and so forth with cyberbullying. With hate crime, it's a little bit different, where there has to be a crime committed, okay, with hate. So a hate crime is somebody committing a crime. So it could be assault, mischief, damage to property, all of that, with hate undertone. So there's where the difference is. Yeah. Cyberbullying, you're not actually committing a crime per se, but you're doing something to lead people to harm themselves or to self-hate. But with hate crime, you're directly doing something with that hate connotation.
Mm-hmm.
If I could just add to Constable Boyd, not every cyberbullying is hate crime, but every hate crime committed on social media is a cyberbullying.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, thank you both for that. I really appreciate it. When you go into schools and you talk, and so what age group are you starting with? Are you starting with the very young, or is it capped at a certain age?
When we were in schools,
yes.
We are no longer in school. It started from the junior public school. So we had officers that would go in and just talk and have certain officers would have certain schools that was their school. So they would go in and speak to the young people from grade 1 on up, and it's just. Sometimes it's about educating them just about road safety and all of that. Yeah. But as it goes into high school, then the topic, of course, becomes a little bit more stringent when it comes to talking to them about what they shouldn't be doing. And at high school, you know better, right? When you're in public school, yes, you're an impressionable, so maybe you maybe just go by the crowd. But in high school, you certainly should know what it is that you're doing. But yeah, it started from there.
Well, when you think about when we're all kids, I mean, that was never even really heard of, right? It's something like that. So it's just a whole different level for us to investigate, and not only individuals, but families as well too. And sometimes the parents aren't aware of what's going on with their children, and that just adds another layer to it altogether. I wondered if you could speak to that, just in terms of your experiences from yourselves in the community, and how important it is to reach the household with this information.
Okay, I'll start, and Principal Kim, if you want to jump in. So here's the thing: even though we talk about younger people, younger children that maybe don't know better, they have siblings that are older, siblings that they might just overhear them, right? They might just be, the older sister, get out of my room, don't come in my room, right? Because that's, we all went through that, right? We want our own little space when we were younger. But younger brother or sister may just be kind of lurking and listening, and older brother or sister may be on the phone talking to their friends, and these things come out. And before you know it, they go to school, and one of their friends, they might hear the same thing. And so it just kind of starts there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. And Constable Kim, did you want to jump into that, or? Yeah.
It is the social media that, when we go out and try to educate our community member, is that you mentioned that, importance of, adults or parents, that they have to know, what their kids are doing. So we try our best to educate parents and adults, because my kids, we had a quick chat before this forum, that my kid's 22 months, but they're already playing with the phone. So if I don't keep up with technologies out there, I'll be behind. And I'm not saying that it is us as an adult our fault per se, but I think it is our responsibility to educate ourselves on par with our kids. So many times that I talk to community members, parents, they don't even know how to get on TikToks or Snapchats and how it works, and so we try to educate that as well. So I want to educate both sides. Youth groups, make sure that the consequences, what they post, or what they the comments that they post against somebody. Parents, I want them to educate themselves to keep up with technologies or social media that happening out there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Questions from our attendees at this point?
Yeah, I have another question on this topic as well. I just want to know, so being a parent, because say somebody's emotions are attached, what can a parent do if they figure out that their kid is a cyberbully? What can they do? Because there are so many emotions attached. So what are the steps they can take? Are there any helplines, maybe? Anything?
I'm going to suggest that, as a parent, you still have control of your children. The old adage, this is my house, you live in my house, listen to my rules kind of thing. Yes, those are, kind of like people like talk about that like long time ago. Now, when you're, in that space and you have children, if you hear then you've got to be a parent. Like as police officers, we can't tell you that, this is what you should do, or this is the wrong and right of what you should do. But as a parent, you should know that, listen, I didn't teach you that. Where did you get that from? Let's have a conversation. There's no way that I'm okay with that. And let them know that it's not welcomed in the house, right? It's just like when we talk about other areas, and we say, listen, you have parents that might have this kind of negative talk, and kids, they pick it up. Well, in this case, the parents, you're still in control. Your parents, you deal with it, and you should deal with it before it gets to the point where it's past where you can control it.
And please don't hesitate to reach out to school teachers and vice principal or principal at school. If there was, we talked about hate crime and social media and stuff like that. If actually a hate crime was committed, then we as a police, we should be notified and it should be reported.
Mm-hmm. I find it with less and less time that parents have with their children, then that becomes a bigger issue. Then it becomes more of a community responsibility to step in, as we're talking about here, the schools and community groups and such, and folks like yourself, because parents are quite busy and sometimes they don't always have a lot of time with their children. Yeah.
Well, we always say, and it's the old adage, it takes a village, right?
Yeah.
And you do really need that because, like you said, you have parents, unfortunately, they're doing two jobs, right? So they're not there to really be that much a part of the children's lives. So really, neighbor, look out for my kid, I look out for yours. And yeah, it does really take a village. And, you're not going to see everything, but when you do see it, confront them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah, for sure. Tala, did you want to jump in with anything there?
I had, I know we talked about what cyberbullying was, but I think I wanted clarification on whether cybercrime is really just, is it any crime committed through the medium of social media or the internet? And kind of, do you feel like there's a need to kind of intervene at a younger age? I know I have like younger cousins and they are doing things I couldn't even imagine on the internet at 7 years old. And it's just because they have access to that. Like they have their iPad, they have their parents' phone, and they learn very, very fast. So I was wondering how do you mitigate that? And where is the line to kind of determine whether, okay, is this bullying or is this a crime? And how are we going to move forward to address it to make sure it doesn't happen again?
Thank you. Open up the floor there.
Okay. Let's begin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just, Constable, but if you can just start, I'm just looking through some.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, thank you.
So to your question, Tala, yeah, a crime is a crime no matter what and how it's committed. So if it's committed through the real, physical or whatever, or uttering threats, whatever, that's a crime. If it's a cybercrime, it's a crime just the same. So if the crime is committed over the medium, the social networks, and we do have officers, we do have cybercrime officers that do investigate these. So when we have these reports, they go to the place that Constable Kim used to work, information management, where they go through the reports and they flag it. And the officers that get it, the officers are called, they flag it and it goes right to the cybercrime department and they investigate. And when necessary, they will lay charges. Now, laying charges, because you have to think about the age group too, right? Sometimes what you need is intervention by means of referral, right? Just talking to people and saying, listen, we're not going to go, because you don't want to put that on a young person by giving them a criminal record, by sending them to court and all of that. So we have a referral program where if something, and depends on the severity of it, we can then say, okay, you know what? We refer that you go and you do community services hours to atone for what you've done. But if a crime is committed, regardless of where it is investigated, and when appropriate, charges are laid.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Constable Boyd. I just wanted to mention a few criminal offenses can happen via online or social media. Auto threats. Everyone commits an offense who causes any person to receive a threat to cause death or injury or to burn, destroy, or damage property. This can be one. Criminal harassment. No person shall engage in conduct that causes that other person to fear for their safety or the safety of anyone known to them. Extortion. Everyone commits an offense who attempts to persuade any person to do anything by the use of threats or violence. Non-consensual distribution of an intimate image. Everyone who transmits, sells, or shows an intimate image of a person that did not give consent is guilty of an offense. And in definition of an intimate image is a visual recording in which the person is nude and is exposing explicit sexual activity. And this happens among high school students. And one case that I actually was involved was that boyfriend and girlfriend, they broke up, and boyfriend decided to distribute ex-girlfriend's, naked picture and stuff like that. And so, again, we do have a unit where they investigate this alongside with our child abuse unit that, they can look into the matter like this.
It's interesting that you mentioned the child abuse unit as well, that aligns with that initiative. And I think that that's important to underscore that because it truly is, I guess, compatible in, where we take it, I guess, so to speak. Coming from the teaching field myself as well, I remember when iPads were introduced to schools and how that activity started to increase, what we're talking about here. And it was prior to that was never even thought of or, even considered. But once the iPads were brought out, that, we would sometimes find things like that was happening, or trying to happen while on school property, right? Yeah.
Paula, I hope that answered your question. I kind of gave you an overview, and Constable Kim really went in depth with the actual charges and and these are all Criminal Code of Canada charges. So I hope that satisfied your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you so much. It's a really good overview of what exactly is considered a crime in terms of cyberbullying and cybercrime. I don't think that I wish I had more of an understanding when I was back in high school and elementary school, because same as Ms. McT was saying, when iPads were introduced, that just skyrocketed, especially in my schools. And I don't think that our educators were well equipped to handle the severity of it, because it is so easy to say something when nobody knows who you are under usernames or codes, and then switching IP address. Oh my goodness, it was very difficult. So I'm also wondering what I also sit on the Durham Regional Police Youth Advisory Committee, and we were also having this conversation a couple of months ago about how we want to address it, especially in the Durham region. There were kind of some gun threats that were happening in high schools, and it was over social media that happened when I was in high school too. And we were kind of just trying to create solutions to see how can we pinpoint where this is happening, how it's happening, and I guess find out, kind of create preventative measures, I think, to mitigate that from happening again. It was going on for a while, and then it's calmed down now, but I think it was kind of figuring out why it was so severe, why it was happening so frequently, and why it was a little difficult to pinpoint who the student was and why they did it. So that's just a side question.
Yeah, and you know what? With that, you have a lot of people, especially unfortunate with what's going on in the States, right? Sometimes things happen and there's telltale signs, but people don't pick up on it, right? Here, and to your point, where they are using different IP addresses, and it's hard to follow, and pinpoint who's doing it. But that's why we have these units, right? We have the guns and gangs unit, we have the cyber units, so that we can try to keep ahead of it, and hopefully nothing like that. But as soon as something like that happens with any of the school, and maybe Lynn, you can speak to this, schools take this seriously, right? So if it's said, even though sometimes kids, they think that they're saying it in jest or they're trying to be funny, nothing funny about it, but the schools, they go into hold and secure, or sometimes lockdown, just to make sure that they identify if there really is a threat, and the police are notified. So we try to stay ahead of the game, and hopefully we do enough that we prevent something from happening that we see across our southern border.
Does that work, Tala? Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. I love where the conversation's going. And again, it takes a whole community, a whole village to address these issues. And on a mental health scale, it's quite complex. And I wonder if you could speak to just the mental health aspect, and feel free to just take it where you wish, and how important that is to address that with educators, community service members, and when addressing these types of issues as cyberbullying and crime.
So within, we work together, of course, with the schools, and even though we're no longer going to the schools, we still have a relationship with schools in that regard. So when it comes to mental health, it's something that we at YRP, we take very seriously. And we work with healthcare professionals. We have a unit where it's a crisis worker that go out with a police officer, and the police officer is not dressed in uniform. They're dressed down in civilian clothing, just like the mental health worker. And a lot of times people just need somebody to talk to. Now, if they're to the point where they're going to hurt themselves, so threats of hurting themselves or somebody else, or they just can't care for themselves, then we have an obligation to go in and we apprehend and we bring them to a facility that can deal with them, because we're police officers, we're not social workers, nor are we psychiatrists, right? So but when it comes to sometimes somebody might just want to have somebody there and just to hear them. And that's why we had that unit. And if, say, Constable Kim and I were patrolling and we get that call, and sometimes we do know the people that this happens to, and they might be going through a crisis, and they just might need that person. So we'll then reach out over radio and call and say, hey, can we get the MHS unit, mental health services unit, to assist us? And yeah, we will get them, and we'll just kind of take, step to the back a little bit, and they go in, and because they're professionals, and so more times than not, they taught that to that person, and it's resolved right there. Now, yes, do we recommend that? Yeah, you maybe should go and see somebody that's providing care outside of, your regular day. Absolutely. But sometimes that's all that's needed, is to just quell it there before we have to, go hands-on and put people in cuffs. And sometimes people will say, you know what, I'd like to go to the hospital. We'll call an ambulance, and one of us will ride in the ambulance with them. They're not we don't have them in custody.
Yep.
We're just there just in case something happens. So, and they'll go to the hospital voluntarily. And once they go in there voluntarily, they get seen by the medical professionals, and that's that. But then there are times when we do have to go in and physically take somebody to the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Just echoing to what Constable Boyd say, that many times, based on my experience, that they just need someone to talk to. They just want to express that. They just want to vent what they have in their mind. Constable Boyd and I, we have close relationship with this place called Clerical Place. Mm-hmm. It's located in Vaughan. So this is what it is a place for developmentally challenged participants in our society. So the age is all the way from 18, 20, all the way to 60, 65. So these are not kids or youth that we are talking about, but many times Constable and I, we go and they they love to just talk to us about something. Maybe one participant here wants to talk about the game that he's been playing. The one participant, he loves to talk about sports, Toronto Maple Leafs, Toronto Blue Jays, and so many times that we attend, especially crisis like that, we go there, we listen to them, and we talk to them, we engage conversation with them, and many times that's all it takes for them to calm down and they seek for any professional medical assistance.
Yeah, and sometimes the uniform can be a trigger, and that's why we do have the support of the mental health worker and a plainclothes officer. Nothing about them says police, because the uniform, I mean, who here, if you're driving and you see a cruiser behind you for more than a few seconds, you start going, okay, where are my papers? Even though I'm a police officer, right? So the uniform, the car, it is something that sometimes will be a trigger, and we will get calls that, this person does not like the look of police. So, and if we can stand down, like if it's emergency, we have to go. But if we can stand down and wait for that resource, then we do.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's fair. We all need a cheering section. Just sort of going back to your conversation, how sometimes people just want to be listened to. But having taught newcomers from other parts of the world, as you mentioned, the uniform can sometimes be a whole other thing. And so providing supports in a neutral, if you will, type of presentation, it certainly helps. Would you mind if I just jump in cross culturally as far as in getting the message across about cyberbullying and cybercrime, and how does that work for you in terms of the supports in the community? If you could speak to that a little bit, both of you.
And the support of the community, again, to touch on, different cultures coming here, where the police, they're usually seen as authoritarian, and they come in and they're heavy-handed. And, a lot of times police in different areas of the world, they come in and they're extorting people, quite frankly, right? They, it's do this or pay this, or some people get beaten, and just a quick sidebar. I remember arresting somebody that was impaired, and one of our duties, we got to make sure we stop somebody that's driving that's clearly impaired. And when I arrested that person, and rights to counsel and all of that, had to bring him back to the station. In the back of the car, he said to me, "Sir, please don't beat me." And it just kind of blew my mind, because he came from another area of the world where that would be something that would happen. And I had to reassure him that, no, we will not beat you. No, sir, you did something that, and it still has to be proven in court, but we want to make sure that you don't hurt yourself or anybody else. But that was the mentality, don't beat me. And I thought it just kind of blew my mind a little bit. Right. But when we go out and we speak to newcomers, because we do newcomer welcome centers across our region, and Constable Kim and I, we go, and initially when we started going, you could see people kind of, giving us the side eye, like, okay, they're police. What are they doing here? Who's in trouble? And we go in and we say, oh, hey, no. We are here before you need the police, and somebody's in trouble. And before you know it, they gravitate to us. And I mean, how could you resist a smile like Constable Kim, right? And before you know it, we're getting pictures taken. They're asking for pictures to be taken, and they're sharing a part of their culture. And we're, immersing ourselves in the culture. And we just want to make sure that they know that we're there for them. And before it comes to the point where we have to be the law and, you're in trouble, so you're getting arrested. We go in, we do presentations with them. We just, sometimes they don't ask for presentations, but we just go in and we'll just go in the class and sit and have a little round table, just a little conversation circle, and just whatever is on your mind. And sometimes I've been where, they're a little bit reluctant to speak because they don't, they may not speak English all that well. And I'll say, okay, you know what? Constable Kim and I, we're going to step out. And when we come back, I'm sure you're going to have questions. And, before you know it, we go out, we step out for 5 minutes, we come back in, and there's 5 questions on the blackboard. And then we answer them, right? But we just give them that option to say, you know what, we're not going to force you to ask questions right here, but we'll step out. And so we have a good relationship, and we continue to grow the relationship with our newcomers.
That's amazing. Constable Kim, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I just wanted.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that cross-culture can be based on different ethnic groups, different cultures, different religions.
Yeah.
And me as a Korean background, Christian, maybe a little bit different than Chinese background with Buddhism as their religion. So Constable Boyd and I, we try to visit as sometime that him and I, we just go visit place of worship within the region. And this is a little bit more bigger picture, not just on cyberbullying or cybercrime issues, but Constable Boyd and I, Constable Boyd, he organized place of worship tour for our new recruits. So any new police officers who just got hired, finished their training, as part of their mandatory training is to actually attend different places for worship and learn about different cultures and different cultures. We provide this service because of manpower and other stuff, we cannot provide to every community member we wish, but in the region, but we provide for people. Last time when we had someone from EMS joined and attended. So now they're learning and they spread the word to their organization. And we provided this place of worship tour for employees at the region of York and their Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Bureau. So, and then Welcome Center, we try to customize and cater to our different community members. I had presentation for our Turkish group. I had presentation for Ukrainian group, because Ukrainian new immigrants, this is time that we have to give support for this poor community members. Because their family members, their friends are in Ukraine and they're going through a war right now. So we try our best to reach out to smaller community members, and not only for cyber bullying related or cyber related, but totality of who we are as a police, and we are here to reduce the stigma if you had some negative experience from your own country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's amazing. Addressing the places of worship as well and making that part of the recruit process. That's awesome. Wowee.
This York region is very diverse.
Yeah.
And as such, we need to have our recruits know who they're dealing with, right? So when they go to calls, you may be a police officer that came down from North Bay because you can't get hired on a police service because they don't hire as much. The population there is not as, and they don't hire. So YRP, York Regional Police, we're hiring. So they come down from, and it might be the first time they see an Indian person, a Chinese person, whatever, right? So we want to make sure that, listen, you're going to be policing all these neighborhoods. So when you go to somebody's house and they might have, like a little shrine for worship. Yeah, you might have to go there to do a job, and, that's policing. but be respectful, right? So the overall concept is respect the people that you're working, because we're working for the people, right? So we have to make sure that we teach them respect, and you should already have that coming in. If you're going to be a police officer, that should be number one, right? I'm going to serve. So the respect factor should be already there.
100%. Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I just wanted to say kamsamnida. Thank you.
Oh,
Kamsamnida. Thank you. My father spoke Korean, as so it's interesting. Yeah, I like to use it, and actually just learning from Korean students so much. So yeah, just wanted to practice a little bit there.
that's awesome.
Thank you. I wondered, a question from Sugandha or Vidi at this point. For me, the places of worship are key, I think 100%, especially with hate crime going on and such. So I thought that for you addressing that was really beneficial to our viewers and listeners. So thank you very much for addressing that. Sugandha.
I think, yeah. So for me, I think this is a fun one. I just want to ask if in your experiences while like going to the places of worships, what is the reaction of people? Do you find like fun reactions, the way they like talk to you, the way they ask questions and everything? Do you remember any anecdote that comes to mind that's a really good interaction with somebody?
So mostly we have, say, like we go to the Sikh temple. Like we go to the one, we don't have one in York, but there's one right in Scarborough, just a little bit south in Toronto. So we go there. And when we go there, it's always buzzing with people coming to worship, people coming just to eat, because that's one of the things that the Sikh community provide is always, if you want to eat, there's always food. So make sure you come in and be respectful. So, some of the things that we go in, we have to cover our heads. We have to, we take our shoes off. And we can do that as police officers now because we're in training. We'll do that. Now, if we were going in for police business rather than the worship tour, of course, footwear is part of the safety issues. But when we go in and you have a group of 45 of us, the look is, because the place of worship don't tell people that we're coming. So they give that look like, whoa, why are all, and then we just kind of explain. And then they take their cameras out and, do you mind? Absolutely. Not only do we mind, we don't mind for you to take pictures, but come join us and be a part of the picture and take your camera and we'll get somebody to take. So it's always a really good interaction when it comes to sharing, because, we don't want people to think that the police were only there to arrest people. So when they see that we come out and we are sharing, we're breaking bread, we are sitting down on the floor, we're having something to eat, and it's just something that they you see the smiles on their faces. And then when we get those pictures, we send it to our magazine. It's an inside magazine. It's called In Case You Missed It. So we send it to the service. Every week it comes out and they get to see that Constable Kim and I, we took 40 recruits to different places of worship. And then we get, emails and texts from people. Oh, you guys are, well done, right? Because this is something that is necessary. So we take pride in delivering that service.
That's amazing. So again, does that cover that for you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love it. It's amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if Vidi, if you have a question, an opportunity to jump into the conversation.
No, I have this opportunity, and I have too many questions in the past session, and all questions are cleared by the link Boyd, and thank you for that.
You're so welcome. It was a really good session, and I was glad to do it. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, remember, just to start. But once we got it going, it was just seamless, and it was amazing. Yeah, really well done. Yeah, and I love the fact that everybody were engaged, and really ask questions, and because it makes us feel, like we're doing something. When we have engagement, that's what we like. We just don't want to be talking heads, right? We could sit here and Constable Kim and I, we can sit here and talk and just talk and talk. But when, like Saganda, you ask questions and, and that, I love that, right? Tala, before she left, she asked questions, and we love that because it's interaction.
Mm. And it's a, parallel conversation. We're all welcome at the table for the conversation, breaking bread together, right? So it's awesome. I know our topic has been cybercrime and cyberbullying and all of those things, and we're really talking about life and how we address accessibility and inclusion in our communities. So I value you. You're just being so relaxed with us, and thank you so very much for it. I really appreciate it. Maybe have a couple of more questions before we're kind of wrapping up today. Maybe about 5-10 more minutes, if that works for you folks.
That's fine.
Amazing. Great. Thank you. So in terms of places of worship and some of the bullying that goes on and crimes, I guess, hate crimes in particular, and maybe we could have a conversation about cyber hate and places of worship and getting the message across on working together as a community within the places of worship.
Just to give you a little overview, we, in our unit, in our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Bureau, our mantra, our saying is we police with a global mindset, because what happens across the world affects us here. So with that said, just last week, we were at training for the week. Constable Kim and myself with other members of our unit, we had training for the whole week. Hate crime conference, actually.
Oh, wow.
And within that week, with what has been going on politically with Indians and Sikhs here in India, we, Constable Kim and I mean, it comes from the mayor and all that. So, but we decided that, you know what, we can miss a day of that training because we had already seen the presentations there. And we went out to all our Indian and Sikh temples throughout the region and just let folks know that we're here and that we're here. But if there's anything that is immediate and needs police attention, of course it's 911. But in the meantime, if there's a question, if there's anything that we could help with, don't hesitate. We left our business cards and so on and so forth. Like our former superintendent, his saying, and I won't take it, but I will just acknowledge him. He would say, during the time of crisis is not the time to be giving out business cards. So that's why our unit is so important, to have the community connections where we go out and we do foster those relationships. So when it comes time, we know who to call, they know who to call, and we just have a relationship that's seamless.
That's awesome. That's really great. Kit, we have you joining us, and I don't know if you have a moment to jump into the conversation. Kit has been kind enough to work on some other initiatives with us through Moksha Canada Foundation, and she's coming from an online course right now. So Kit, we're talking about, of course, as you know, cybercrime and bullying, but we're talking about life with our folks here from York Regional Police. And I wondered if you have any questions. We've got about 5 to maximum 10 more minutes with our guest speakers. And if you have any questions that you'd like to pose, and you're welcome to turn on your camera if you wish, and if you don't want to, that's okay too. Nope.
Because I joined late, so at this moment I don't have other question. Yeah, thank you.
Oh no, for sure, Kit. It's just great to have you here and be in this platform. So we'll make sure that you have some others. Another future session we have coming up is sex trafficking, actually, and that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Actually, we're going to be talking with some workers who work in the rehabilitation field, if you will, reintegration for those that have gone through sex trafficking. And would that be a conversation just for a moment? You could touch on it, an online presence with sex trafficking. Is there any way we could touch on that just a little bit?
Constable Kim, you want to start? I mean, it's not our area of expertise. We're not subject matter experts by any means, but we do. I mean, policing is policing, and we kind of have to touch on everything. Sorry, I know I said I let Constable Kim started, but
kind of threw it out there. Sorry, excuse me for that.
right, and you know, sometimes I'm just like that, right? I got verbal diarrhea.
Oh no, it's great. I can't keep the question out. It's okay. Well, I have you here.
You know, we have, and we work with victim services, and our last police appreciation night, the theme was honoring victims. And we had a young lady that was caught up in the whole trafficking, and our superintendent, no, he's the chief from London Police. He actually presented her with the award, and it was just very impactful, the work that YRP has done over the years. And it's something that's ongoing, and we do have our human trafficking unit that takes care of those incidents. We do have, you know, we set up initiatives where we go out, and in the past we've had where we go out and we set up like a sting operation just to get Johns that were trying to purchase sex from underage. And we netted, I remember when we did it for 2 weeks, and we arrested 50 people.
Wow.
50 people. And it's gone on again. And just to, you know, try to eliminate what is going on with members of, you know, our society, where they think that it's okay to be having conversation with somebody and, you know, try to purchase sex. And then when the person says, oh, by the way, I'm 15. And, you know, you think something would go off in their head and just go, oh, hang up or stop no, but they continue and they say, okay, well, sure. Right. So we do go and investigate and put them before the courts. And many of them, they get jail time. So that's just something that we've done and continue to do. But when it comes to, you know, the actual matters of that type of work, we can't get too in depth with it because we're not the experts. So that's something that you'd probably, if you needed a conversation, would have to probably reach out to that unit just to see if they would lend you a little bit of time to talk about that.
Yeah, we certainly will, for sure. I don't know, Constable Kim, did you want to jump into that? And I'm sort of more curious about the online presence of that. I don't know if that's an area that you could speak of briefly.
Yeah, I just wanted to connect these two together, that human trafficking is happening. And so me and Constable Boyd, we were in uniform recruiting unit, you know, where we try to recruit men and women to become a police officer, but they do actually have this recruiter for human trafficking, and they're so active online, try to recruit young girls to be into to get into this business. That's why again, we're talking about cyberbullying, hate crime, but at the same time, just the awareness is that you have to really be careful who you talk to, especially over social media. And they can disguise as whoever that you want to be. Maybe they pretend that they're like 15-year-old girl, but at the end, this guy's like 35-year-old male, and who's, you know, heavily into human trafficking. And unfortunately, some of young girls, they fall for it, and they, you know, they join and they go out and meet with these people, these predators, and they meet with people, and then they join. Unfortunately, they became a part of this human trafficking. So part of our, I know that when we were in schools, when we used to go to school and provide these presentations, we talked about sexting and human trafficking, the danger on social media. And our youth, unfortunately, they have to be really careful and really cautious about who they talk to and what they post.
Thank you. And so community mindfulness and all taking the village to raise our children would be important. If the parents are not able, they're not capable, they're working 2-3 jobs sometimes. It's just being aware and, keeping on the pulse of what's happening with our young. Wow. We're just wrapping up the conversation with our folks, our guest speakers, our experts from the York Regional Police, Constable Boyd and Constable Kim. Any final questions before we head out in our travels? I wonder if we could wrap that up. What do you think, Sugandha? I think you have one more simmering.
I don't have questions, but this is my first session, and to be very honest, I think I learned a lot. So I'm just thankful to everybody. Thank you to Lynn. Thank you for Mr. Kim and Mr. Boyd. It's Constable Kim and Constable Boyd. Sorry, this is the first time, so I'm just a little, I don't know how to correctly say that. But I just want to say that I never knew that talking to police was so comfortable and so much fun. I'm also an immigrant here, so I learned a lot, and I definitely feel that I will feel a lot more comfortable when I'll see a person in uniform today, and I'll be a little more comfortable in going to them and maybe asking for help, I think. So I learned a lot. So I just want to really, really, really thank you, all of you. Thanks a lot.
And not just to, go into for help. Say hi, right? When we walk out, people might think, what's wrong with them? Because we'll say hi to everybody, right? We'll say hi and we'll just go and strike up a conversation. Just maybe 2 weeks ago, Kim and I, we were getting lunch, we were getting sushi. And there are 2 ladies just coming from work just to get lunch. And they're standing there and they're kind of looking at us because we're police. And then we just started having a conversation with them. Just randomly, right? And then they started laughing because they realized we're just people. Yeah, we were in a uniform, but at the same time, it's just what we have to wear because of our livelihood. But we're just common folk, just like everybody else, right? So please say hi. We'll be more than happy to have a quick conversation.
Sugandha, remember, we don't bite. And again, what Constable Boyd was saying, that I am an immigrant. I came here from Korea, and I was in that that seat before. So more than we can talk. There are more commonalities that we can build, and this is how our relationship starts, right? We have to know each other. At the end of the day, you're a human being, I'm a human being, and we coexist in our society, and we have to live in harmony. And again, next time you see us on the road, more likely I am riding with Constable Boyd. So if you see us on the road or at a place, just say, "Hey, my name is Sugandha. We did this forum." Please do so.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. Our cup is full with gratitude. So we're just so appreciative of you, your special ways in engaging us in this conversation today. And as Sugandha said, I guess at ease with one another and with us. So we so appreciate that. And not everyone can do that. So it speaks to you as for the work that you do, and it speaks to you as individuals. So really grateful. 1,000 thank yous for you being here today. I once again thank you. And if someone wanted to reach out to you or seek out some resources, could you maybe just highlight that before we go and wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
My badge number is my email, so it's 1630@yrp.ca. If you have any questions, by all means, just send them my way, and I'll get you the answer. Or if you just want to just chat, right? And again, because we were in recruiting, we want people from all over, right? Because we want to make sure that we showcase the people that reflects the community. So we will always have time to talk with someone that wants to become a police officer, because we're still recruiters. So we will have that time to speak with someone. So if you want, 1630@yrp.ca. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. And Constable Kim, you put it in the chat here. I wonder if you can just underscore one more time your badge number.
Yep. So 1630 is I call him Constable Handsome. Constable.
I like
My
that.
badge is 1179. So 1179 at yrp.ca. And again, if you have any question, please reach out to us, and we'll go out for have a coffee and talk about different things.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well, we're so grateful. Thank you so much for sharing this platform with us. And thank you to Moksha Canada Foundation for allowing us to be here in this safe space and having the conversation and learning and growing along the way. And perhaps we'll impart knowledge onto others and perhaps reaching out to the York Regional Police. Thank you to Bell Let's Talk for choosing Moksha Canada Foundation for allowing us to have these conversations. We're so very grateful, and we look forward to connecting with you once again. Take care and follow us on social media, everyone. If you have an idea for programming, let us know and we'll see if we can follow up for you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.